Inside the private office of Count Goethe Moan's estate, the older gentleman savors a cup of Mitsugoshi's luxury brand coffee while reviewing the massive stack of ledgers intended to cover up Eliza Darc'icon's crimes, a task he arrogantly deems manageable for a man of his stature. As he fantasizes about demanding a higher rank within the Nightblades, he hands the confidential trial papers to his assistant and tells him to deliver them to Marquis Darc'Icon, only for the assistant to sway and collapse.
The Count stares in horror at the assistant's lifeless body and immediately spirals into paranoia, wondering if the Hopes or his own organization have betrayed him to tie up loose ends. His terror deepens when a blood-stained clown with a jagged grin and a floating black balloon
stalks into the room, dripping gore onto the rug. Goethe questions the intruder's unfamiliar mana before grabbing a longsword from the wall, desperately boasting about his past academy accolades to mask his fear of the silent killer. The nobleman lunges forward, but a lethal Ace of Spades slams into his forehead with a sickening thunk, cutting his life short, while the assailant calmly shuffles a deck of cards over the corpse. Marking the first target down, the jester exits into the grand corridor,
leaving a trail of bloody footprints and heavy silence in his wake. Meanwhile, in her private study at the Hope family residence, Christina Hope trembles with rage while reading a newspaper report that dismisses Eliza's atrocities as mere accidents, a clear sign of corruption involving Goethe Moan.
Later, in the Midgar Academy grand hallway, she breaks the news to her friend Kanade that their testimonies were likely erased, causing the traumatized girl to recall the friends she lost during the terrorist attack. Kanade's grief explodes into a vulgar wish for the biatch to suffer, shocking Christina, who returns to her study to gaze at a drawing of Shadow, wishing she had the power to punish evil as he does. As she romanticizes the vigilante's dark, solitary path, her father violently bursts into the room, clutching documents and complaining about the endless stream of trouble plaguing them. The frazzled patriarch delivers the shocking news that Count Goethe Moan was murdered just last night, leaving Christina stunned by the sudden turn of events. At the exterior grounds of Count Goethe Moan's estate, a chaotic crowd gathers around the cordoned-off entrance where a stern knight holds back the curious masses. But Christina Hope manages to spot Princess Alexia Midgar amidst the commotion. Inside the opulent yet grim residence, Alexia warns her fellow student that the hallway is a grotesque sight, lined with bloody footprints that suggest the killer strolled away with terrifying slowness, rather than fleeing in a panic. In the study, the girls examine the Count's corpse, which features an Ace of Spades embedded in his forehead, prompting Christina to marvel at the sophisticated mana control required to turn paper into a lethal weapon. As the pair whispers about whether this assassination was a warning regarding the Darc'Icon cover-ups, Alexia quickly hushes the conversation when the imposing figure of Inspector Gray looms over them to interrupt their amateur sleuthing. The chief inspector advises the students to step back, before revealing that a conscious servant identified the perpetrator as a horrifying clown drenched in blood. Gray theorizes that a wealthy individual with a grudge hired the jester, dramatically pointing his gloved finger at Christina to suggest she is the prime suspect due to her opposition in the ongoing trial. When the noble girl explodes in outrage, the inspector bursts into laughter, admitting he was choking, and noting that theatrical messages are tropes found only in Natsume novels, a comment that makes Alexia visibly sweat. He teases the princess about being a fan of Detective Conan, causing her to furiously deny the claim,
while instinctively striking the fictional detective's signature pose, though the mood sours when Gray warns them to be wary of the night blades. Left alone to scour the crime scene, the investigative duo notices a pile of broken shards
and unnatural coffee stains on the rug that suggest something was tampered with. Alexia deduces that a document was removed from the spill, and theatrical declarations that there is always only one truth, finally forcing Christina to realize the princess is indeed a massive fan of the mystery series. Inside the classrooms and hallways of Midgar Academy, Kanade spirals into a loud, tearful panic over becoming a target, forcing Christina Hope to hush the hysterical girl so they can review the facts regarding the trial of Eliza Darc'Icon. The noble student explains that while Count Goethe was suppressing their evidence, his sudden murder complicates the defense, leading her to deduce that the killers might now seek to silence witnesses to ensure an acquittal. Just as she warns that Brad Darc'Icon might deploy the 13 Nightblades against them, a sudden rattle exposes Cid Kagenou lurking in the classroom corner, offering a sheepish apology for eavesdropping. He frantically tries to play off the encounter and leave. But Christina recognizes him as Claire's brother and demands an explanation, prompting Cid to present a stack of documents he claims to have found near her desk. Christina is horrified to discover the pages are stained with blood and coffee, confirming they are the very records of the cover-up stolen from the crime scene. When she questions their origin, Cid maintains his background character facade while subtly pointing out writing on the reverse side of the evidence. The bloody scrawl reveals the name Jack the Ripper, and though Cid feigns total ignorance, he nudges her toward the realization that this mysterious figure intentionally delivered the proof to her. He attempts to flee the dangerous situation, but Christina physically seizes him, insisting that his contact with the evidence and his poor academic ranking means he requires her protection. She confidently declares that the trio will weather the storm by living together at a Hope family villa, dragging a reluctant Cid into an unexpected cohabitation arrangement. The video ends here, but the story isn't over yet. Like the video if you're ready for the next part.